Please go.
Good evening, sir. I am good. Absolutely. Ready to get this thing rolling.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Administration.
All right, my pronouns are he, him. I'm a veteran receiving disability. And what was that last one?
What are your expectations for your communities over the next 4 years under the Trump administration?
To make it through these next 4 years.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Fee talks back. Fee talks back. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Fee, can you tell me what are your pronouns? Which community are you a part of? The disabled community or the veteran community? And what is your expectations for your community over the next 4 years under the Trump administration?
She, her, and I am a person with a disability. I'm an amputee. Um, I'm one of those people that he doesn't like to take pictures with. But
Mm,
um, over the next 4 years, it's a good question. I just expect there to be a lot of fights, and I expect there to be a lot of people finding out how much he doesn't like the programs that help people like myself.
mm. You know what? That's actually a really great comment, and that's something that we've actually been speaking on so far, as like what is going to look like to have certain programs impacted by the Trump administration. So I can't wait to get into that. Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Next, Christopher. How are you?
Better than I deserve, Santana. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Christopher, thank you for joining us again tonight. I know that you've been a part of the panel. I know you and I spoke, and I'm going to let you start after we go through the overall introduction. But just hitting the normal questions. What are your pronouns? Which community are you a part of? And what are your expectations for your community over the next 4 years under the Trump administration?
My pronouns are he, him. I am part of the disabled community, and my expectations for the next 4 years under the Trump administration is for a lot of the programs that disabled people are reliant on to be severely gutted.
Yeah, no. It's super interesting that well, I guess not interesting, but you're saying that, and that's something that a lot of people are seeing, and it's something that not a lot of Trump supporters thought would happen, but we see that coming to pass, and we see it happening really quickly. So thank you for that, Christopher. Izzy, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good. Izzy, can you tell the people what are your pronouns? Which community are you a part of, and what are your expectations for these communities over the next 4 years under the Trump administration?
My pronouns are he, him. I am a veteran currently receiving 100% disability from the VA, and my expectations are not just the healthcare side of the VA getting gutted, but there's also a significant amount of benefits that exist outside of the realm of healthcare that the VA helps veterans with, such as finding jobs, housing, helping to fix housing situations, educational benefits from the GI Bill to other programs like the VRNE. I fully expect those to get gutted, or at the very least slash significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you, Izzy. JD Squirrel. JD, how are you?
Hi. She, her. I'm on disability. I can only be here for about a half hour because I have a doctor's appointment in the morning.
Okay.
And my what I think's going to happen is my worst fear, and that's people like me are going to end up back at the beginning again, not having the coverage we need, not being able to get the medication we need, and the fact that my disabilities are invisible makes it even worse.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that, what's funny is we ended up speaking about that towards the end of last night, where we talked about how it was a whole question with the quote unquote golden age, and if you ever felt like people with disabilities had like this great turning point where things were getting better, and if it's actually going to go backwards. So it's super interesting that you said that. We're going to follow up on that a little bit more. Hey, Ren, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Ren, can you tell the people what are your pronouns? What community are you a part of? And what are your expectations over the next 4 years under the Trump administration for your community?
She, her pronouns. I am disabled. I am a wheelchair user. And my expectations, which let me make sure thank you, Chum. My expectation is that everything is going to go to crap. Like I've been trying to dance around it, but as I've been in these, traversing and rolling through these TikTok streets, people just genuinely do not believe that this man is going to do the things that he says he's going to do. They don't believe him. Right. So this is going to get real bad.
Yeah. No, again, I'm super interested in the fact that people genuinely don't think that the certain things, the bad things that he said is going to happen, but I don't know. But you're absolutely right. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Before we get started, I just want to go over a couple of things. Just a quick reminder: in order for us to actually be able to have these conversations, one second here. I'm sorry. Like this caught me off guard. Devil Dog. Devil Dog, I sent you a request to actually join. You came in here into the chat yesterday and you spam like weird stuff, and I gave you the opportunity to come up and join the panel. Especially, again, I'm assuming that you're someone that is a Marine because of the name, and you are a Trump supporter. We would love to have your voice added to the panel in a respectful conversation. So if you are interested in coming up, please come up. If not, you're gonna get muted in the chat. Mods, no more leeway for Devil Dog. So Devil Dog, you can either request up or you don't get a voice in the chat, because I saw how you did it yesterday. We're not going to do that again today. Again, guys, with that being said, in order for us to be able to have these conversations, please be mindful of TikTok-friendly language and use words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19, smex, all of those types of things. Also, guys, we are a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't do any of the isms: racism, sexism, classism, ableism. We also don't deal with any of the phobias: homophobia, transphobia, none of it. We don't play that not only on the panel, but nor do we play it in the comments. So guys, if you are partaking in any of that in the comments, you will be muted and blocked. My mods, don't play that. Which Devil Dog just got muted. Also, guys, speaking of the chat, caps are for mods. Please be mindful of that, because when you use mods, it pulls my attention away from the panel versus and to the chat, versus actually being able to focus on the conversation on the panel. And we are having some amazing conversations, so I want to make sure that we are locked in and able to go. Last but not least, continue to tap the screen. We are almost at 40,000 likes. Let's keep tapping the screen. And we're close to 50,000 likes. Let's blow past that and go ahead and get it up to 75,000 likes. Share the live out. Let's get the shares up to at least 150 shares. And also, we do have a nightly donation goal of $250. So guys, if you are enjoying any of the education, information, entertainment, please consider donating. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. Anything is accepted. Everything is appreciated. And please do not forget to take care of my special guest who has been here all week, Hawk. And mods, can we get Hawk pay links running in the poll? And guys, can we please really, like, seriously, can we take care of Hawk tonight? Because I haven't heard him say thank you enough. And I want to make sure that we appreciate him, not only with gifts, but we hit his pay links. He has been a huge part of what we're doing. And he's been so amazing with his time and guiding these conversations. So please make sure we're taking care of Hawk. With that being said, normally, Hawk, I would start with you. But if you don't mind, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. So Chris is up here, and there's something specific. So he and I actually chatted, and there's something I wanted him to be able to speak to first, and then I was going to come to you, but JD Squirrel has only 30 minutes, and so I want to make sure we hit JD Squirrel. So we're going to go to Christopher, and then Hawk, and then we'll continue to flesh out the conversation. I'm sorry, Christopher, JD Squirrel, and then we'll come to you, Hawk, and flesh out the rest of the conversation.
No sweat.
Christopher, the floor is yours.
So, one thing that I wanted to start out with was that yesterday we talked a lot about education, and Monday we talked about how it's going to affect the disabled community when it comes to the Trump administration. But today I wanted to have a little bit more of a focus and emphasis on mental health and support systems within the disabled community. So I can only speak from my personal experience, but there are a lot of connections between a physical and a mental health challenges. I'll give an example because of my experiences and things that I had to endure as a kid. I have developed severe depression and anxiety, and It's one of those things where um, it how do I want to put this? It's one of those things where, in a way, it's a consequence, but at the same time, um, it's one of those things where you are in a really good position to be there for people. Like, I'm a very big people person myself as a social worker, but I also want to be there for people as much as I can because I know what it feels like to feel alone. So that's where I wanted to start off today.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that makes me think about, and I think JD Squirrel, you kind of mentioned it, but there are other types of disabilities that you don't see, and it can be something that where people think like everything's okay, but then not only connecting the disability, but then connecting the actual mental toll that it can take. And I know myself, I'm a big believer in therapy, right? But also seeking any type of help and guidance. And I think we can often take for granted how people, and I'm sure everyone on this panel can appreciate this statement. No matter if you're someone that has a disability, or you are someone who has served in the military, and you might have something in relations to your time served, like your mental health is something that can be directly correlated to your overall status. I mean, I think that's a general statement as well, but I think that the people on the panel can really speak to that as well. So if you guys are interested in joining that portion of the conversation, I would love to hear your thoughts on that as well. All right. JD Squirrel, I want to come to you.
My issues is I have an overactive immune system. My immune system is literally attacking my body. I have what's called autoimmunity. And I was diagnosed with my first 20 years ago. And I have since developed even more. And among the things that have developed for me is including some bone issues. I may have to have spinal surgery at some point down the road. The people look at me and they see me walking slow and they're like, oh, she's short and she's fat. That's why she walks slow. Without knowing what the issues are. And some of my fat is that I have been, according to one of the psychiatrists I've seen, in fight, flight, or freeze basically all my life. So, I don't know where you want to go from there.
Yeah, I guess just understanding your condition and the treatment that you've been able to get throughout your life, and understanding how things can. It looks like they're going to be even more challenging over the next 4 years under the Trump administration. Have you started to like map out what you can or can't do? What are your thoughts around like any type of changes that you have to make, or just where are you now that you understand that the government should be a system that's put in place to actually help everyone, but there's a possibility that this government is going to actually harm your community. So what are your plans?
Oh, well, I live at my sister and brother-in-law's. My brother-in-law is a Trumper. My sister is a step above. My mother's 85 and lives here. So, this household's kind of screwed if we lose any of the Social Security stuff. My sister's the only one working, and that's as a school teacher. So, not a lot of income coming in. I'm the youngest here, and I receive the least money.
Mm.
So I don't make 1,000 a month. Um, I I look at my own everything that was disliked in Germany, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh my gosh, I took off an awful lot. I'm a single female that never married, never had kids. Um, I'm educated and I'm disabled. And if we start looking at my genealogy, I even have some ethnicities in there that they don't like.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Um, that's a lot, and you know, I always find it interesting when you start to talk about people that are in certain positions in life, and the people that are supposed to be like the most important to them, their family members, the people around them, but they're not necessarily doing those things to help protect them, right? And really working against their own best interests. Um, so I guess where I want to go next is I want to come back over to you, Hawk, and I kind of want to let you guide the conversation, right? But I would love to hear a little bit more around your thoughts with that. I know that veterans benefits, it's such a huge thing, but I would love if you could expand on how the benefits that veterans receive is not necessarily just for them, but it also impacts their family and you know, the people important around them.
Well, yeah, there's a few things with that. And I think I mentioned this to you a few days ago or whatever. One of the first things that hit me, and I was actually talking to a Navy friend of mine about this before the election. One of the things that they're talking about doing is retirees, veterans that are retirees that receive VA benefits, basically are getting paid twice, right? The ugly term that they use is double dipping,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're getting their retirement pay, but they're also getting their VA pay for whatever their disability is. And they're talking about doing away with that because it hasn't always been that way. It used to be it was one or the other, right? Until they came to their senses and recognized the fact that this individual served their time. They did their 20 plus years or whatever. So they earned their retirement pay. And they were also injured in the line of duty and got this disability in the line of duty. So they also earned that pay and they deserve both. So for the last 20 plus years or so, they've been getting both of those. And now they're talking about taking one away and telling them it's either or. You have to pick one, right? The VA benefits one, if you're 100%, might be bigger. So obviously the people will take the bigger one over it. But the thing is they've earned both and they deserve to have both. So that's a concern of mine that that's going to go away. And that's a big deal because generally speaking, especially depending upon what the disability is for that veteran, the spouse might be a caretaker, right? And all of those things are involved in that. So a lot of that stuff starts to go away when they start talking about the VA benefits and or their retirement benefits going away. That's a major issue. Just the fact that they're going to make it more difficult. Again, if they go after veterans benefits the way we think they are or whatever, what the PACT Act has done has made it easier for people to apply for VA benefits
Mm-hmm.
once they've gotten out, right? And now they're going to reverse that and they're going to make it more difficult. So people that actually should be getting benefits won't be able to because they're going to make the process harder and more difficult and more convoluted. So there's a whole bunch of things that we can look at in terms of veterans benefits and the things that they could do to make the process harder and to hurt those veterans that are out there. Um, that's the biggest thing that comes to me at this particular moment.
Mm. All right. Yeah, you know, the one thing that I did see today, and I know I dropped this in our Discord, but that Joe Biden actually did a little bit more to actually expand the PACT Act and make sure that some additional cancers were covered. I think that he's trying. It's interesting. Joe Biden is doing multiple things to do what he can to help protect everyone that is going to be really hurt over these next 4 years. So I think that's interesting. Randy, I want to come to you. I want to come to you because I know you said that you're 100% retired disabled, right?
No, I'm
No.
I'm at 60% now. I've been fighting to get 100% for the
Okay.
last about 10 years.
Okay. Can you speak to kind of trailing on to what Hawk said, and then also, so we had a guy up here last night who said that he was actually because originally he was trying to go back to get he was like at 90%, and then he was going to try to go back to get to 100%. But since this Trump administration is coming in place, he doesn't want to attempt it, and so he's not going to try to go back to 100%. Can you speak on, like, one, just kind of following up on what Hawk said, but two, like, what are your thoughts around that, and are you worried about, what your current status is?
Well, at the beginning when you asked me, I said that I hope that as far as everything will be okay. Which I know there's a fear in that, but I myself, what I have done is, and I've been doing it for a while, is managing and investing, getting like CODs, S&P 500, just in case there's something like this happens. But a lot of the stuff with Hawk covered a lot of it. Um, I would suggest to anyone that don't have 100% to do an intent to file, and and that's good for a year. Right when that time almost comes up, do it again. Just keep doing it, and just keep doing it until after this administration, because that's what I'm currently doing. I'm constantly always claiming the same thing over and over again. Now, for me, it took me a while to even get to 60%. But I'm not going to stop. And with this administration coming in, it's going to make it even harder to try to get.
Can you explain that one for me? Like, because I know the other guy said that, but he didn't really go into it. Can you, like, why do you think it's going to be harder to get?
Because like some of the things that say that you could claim. Let me give you a prime example. Okay, I was in field artillery, and I'm gonna see if I can say this word right. T- I think I'll see if I can pronounce it right. It starts with a T. Tetanus, tinnitus, or something. I can't remember the exact
Tinnitus.
term.
Tinnitus.
Yes, and I've been claiming that for a few years, but used to. I think because they would rate it, but now I don't believe they're doing it anymore. So what I believe they're doing is they're trying to make it even more difficult than what it is.
It's Santana. It's kind of like the article you were talking about that talked about what Biden did today or whatever. They covered some cancers, but they didn't cover other cancers, and he added a list of a whole bunch of other cancers for them to also cover. It's the same thing with other VA disabilities or whatever. They make it harder for you to actually apply for a specific thing because you have to be able to overtly prove that it was service connected, right? It's that type of thing. Right now, that's a lot easier since the PACT Act and the advent of having VSOs to help you through the process and everything else. So I would recommend to people jump on it now and take advantage of that while those things are still in place before they do try to remove those things.
Interesting. Chris, you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, so obviously it's gonna be very bad news if done, but I've been really combing this HR 3118 that Vivek Ramaswamy, and this actually adds on to both your guys' points. So Section 205 and 206 talks about patients' data demographics. So I suspect, right, that if this bill goes away, record keeping for veterans is going to start vanishing. And what's one of the biggest things to get the process started, right? Record keeping. Biden did a good job by passing the VA Electronics Record Keeping Act or something. But if you get rid of this bill that was made in 1996, we're gonna immediately go 30 years backwards.
Is that the Home Dialysis Risk Prevention Act?
No, it's HR 3118, Veterans Healthcare Eligibility Reformed Act of 1996.
Okay, I guess I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. I'm sorry, Randy. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that at this moment?
Let's see. I'm trying to because like a lot of the stuff I was gonna say has already been covered. Because y'all, I
That's
mean, y'all,
okay.
I
They
mean,
can
y'all
hear
done
more
pretty
than
much.
once.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, y'all don't hear pretty much a lot of it. I tell you what, as far as like the community thing, I'm hoping that they don't um do the things that they're talking about doing because see, I live in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm close to the Florida line. I actually go to the VA in Tallahassee, Florida. But as far as mental health, I do telehealth,
Mm.
and I use Miami,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm using two different VAs. Um, that and also
Is
let's say
wait
if
is that
right,
because the VA is limited, or is it a personal choice? Why is that?
no, so I used to right before the pandemic happened, I was living in South Florida,
Oh,
so
got
I
it,
was
got it.
going down there in Miami. But when I came back to Georgia, and I'm still using the one in Florida in Tallahassee. It takes a while, as far as for me to get connected with mental health there in Tallahassee. So I just kept the one far as down in South Florida,
Got it.
and a lot of the things like I said, I just hope they don't mess with it. Like right now, let's say if tomorrow, if I was sick, I could call here locally in my town and go online and have an appointment within 10 and 15 minutes, and the VA will pay for it.
Mm.
So it's just the things like that. I'm just I'm more concerned about that, and also not only for myself, but anybody else that has these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that I can appreciate, Randy, and I'm sure that everyone can appreciate this, especially knowing that we live in a country where, and I hate to say it like this, but the healthcare system is a for-profit system, right? And they're always looking for opportunity to make more money, and so veterans, they're worried about the attack on their benefits. I know that a lot of um, people with disabilities are worried about the ACA and their benefits as well. And so I think not having those protections, and even more so having a government that's actively going after those protections is a tough thing. So Ren, I kind of want to come to you, and I know we talked a little bit about um, the different protections and how people with disabilities actually utilize the ACA. So I wanted to see if you can expand on any concerns or your thought process around medical coverage, and then I know you had something else that you wanted to speak to specifically.
Yeah, well, first, Representative Andy Biggs has already introduced a House bill to get rid of the ACA.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they already trying that, and he's he not even inaugurated yet. So go figure. Um, the biggest concern, and this goes back to something that John Cornyn said about block grants. They want to move Medicaid specifically away from an entitlement program to a block grant program.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to give a Cliff Notes version of what those are. So, like, entitlement programs are just eligibility based.
Mm-hmm.
So, like SNAP, Medicaid, if you're eligible, you get it. The problem with that is that the amount that's spent fluctuates
Mm-hmm.
because it depends on who's eligible, right? If the economy sucks, there are going to be more people on Medicaid. It just kind of is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They want to move to a block grant system. Now, the problem with block grant systems is there's a lot less oversight. So let's say they give, just for the ease of calculating numbers, we're going to give $100 to the state of Mississippi, and we're going to say they have to use it for health care. What's to prevent another Brett Favre situation from not
Mm.
happening? What's to prevent that from somebody not taking the money, saying they're using it for health care, and they're enriching themselves, and now you have disabled people in a lot of states already, especially for their social services programs like home health care and things like that. They already use block grants. And one of the biggest things that you run into is, like, I live in Illinois. Missouri touches Illinois, right? But the care that you get with home health care services, just when you cross over the border, is significantly different because of the way that the state chooses to use those block grant funds. And because of that, if they go to a complete block grant program for Medicaid, a lot of people are going to be messed up. They're going to be messed up. It's just no nicer way to put it, because you're going to get people who are going to enrich themselves.
Yep. Yep. You know what's interesting, and you say that, Ren, and this is something that I've thought about, right? And I know it's gonna hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, that might actually just be the best case scenario for the U.S. over the next 4 years, right? Where they get in place and they grift and they strip money from the government, and we're hurting for a little while, but then after that, then we can start to recover, right? And I've thought about this a lot, because there's definitely a darker version of what could happen. But I think that's going to be something that they're going to attempt to do regardless.
Well, see, it's interesting that you say that, because, and I said this, and I don't care about saying it to people, because if I can say it in secret, I can say it in public.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, on some levels, I'm kind of, I can see a reason why Kamala not winning isn't the worst thing in the world, because these people are going to grift, and there's going to be nobody else to blame it on.
Yeah.
There's going to be no one else to blame it on. They're not going to be able to blame it on the black woman. They're not going to be able to. And this is going to hold a mirror up for a lot of people so they can see who they actually are. The problem is, we got to survive.
Yeah.
That's the catch. We got to hold on as tight as we can until the end.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I've been thinking, and yeah, that's a whole thing. JD Squirrel, I know you had your hand up. Something you wanted to add to that?
Well, you said that this might be the best thing. I made a comment in a live a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the people I was in with were a little shocked I said it. Now, you have to understand, I have a poli-sci degree,
Mm-hmm.
so that's where some of that came from. My stuff comes from. That Trump and his minions doing what they're going to do, in some ways, may be the best thing, because whatever they do opens the door for us to go and do, potentially do, to alter the Constitution in the way we want it.
Yeah.
To actually get things put into the Constitution that we need.
Yeah.
And I need to take off, and thank you all for having me up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
But the only way that's going to work is in the next 4 years. We need more veterans that are running for local offices and other offices. We need more people with disabilities running for offices, local offices, because we're going to have to be ready to strike when the iron is hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's funny? Well, not funny, but something I've been saying this entire time is that we have to make sure that we're putting in the work today, now, right? Making sure that we actually address not only, I heard someone say, like, if you have a local politician that, you can tell that isn't really up to snuff, like, start making calls, start, trying to knock on doors and finding someone better or pushing or whatever. Like, we have to actually do all the things now, right? And the simple fact of the matter is, that's why I'm like, okay, I need to do more, right? and not just me doing these panels, but expanding the panels, expanding our community, reaching out more, helping build bridges and resources. Because the simple fact of the matter is, we can't just try to survive for 2 years. We have to be prepared. So I think you're spot on with that, Ren. Guys, I want to take kind of a parlay for a second and give the floor to Kay. Hey, Kay.
Hello. Good evening. I just wanted to come up and because I know I wanted to come up at the beginning and then maybe later at the end to give the same resources for people who have been asking. So when we're talking about mental health, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. When we talk about mental health and needing resources and having such refined money pots to pull from, we have a couple services that can get you where you need to go, and they are posted in the Discord in the community resource channel. But just in case you're not part of the Discord, if you need someone to talk to about anything, kind of day or night, not in crisis, you can dial 211. They are warm lines. Um, they are staffed with people who are able to help you fill out paperwork. They are staffed with people who can help you find resources. And they're there if you need to just talk, if you don't need to be alone. Then we have, if you are in crisis, 988 for mental health crisis. They are trained to deal with crisis. They are also trained to get you, if you are a veteran, to somebody who is trained specifically in this specific area of veterans needs. We all know the number each day, and so we want to minimize that. So if you are in crisis, please dial 988. The Veterans Crisis Line has now actually asked you to dial 988 instead of dialing directly in, because you will be you will be directed to somebody with specialty is passed away. You can use RAIN services, which is the abuse for veterans who are victims of abuse. You can use NAMI.org, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. And you can make sure that you know if you are part of another marginalized community. When we kind of talk about intersectionality, and you are part of the disabled community and part of the queer community, you can also utilize, or if you're part of the veterans community, and both or all three, and part of the queer community, you can use the Trevor Project, and you can use text lines. You can text 988. You can text through the Trevor Project. And if anyone needs these resources and needs them like written down or typed out to them, please, you can send me a message in the Discord. You can send a message in TikTok, and I will make sure that we get you those resources. Many states have programs through nonprofits that have low or no cost mental health services. I'm one of those providers that gives my only patient base is through no cost or low cost. So I implore you, if you need resources, if you need to talk to somebody, if you are in crisis, please use the resources that we have right now. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, and we'll get you whatever help that it is that you need, or get you on the path to finding it. That's all I have for you now. I love the panel. Great topics as always, and thank you so much for hosting this space.
Hey, Kay.
Yeah.
Since you're up here, do we want to share what you and I talked about, what we are going to be doing? Because I heard you say a word, and I don't know if you want to tell people or if we want to hold off. Your call.
Oh, about the panel, or about what is okay. So, in the coming weeks, we're going to host a panel for Late Nights with Santana that covers intersectionality. and we are going to talk about how all of the marginalized communities and how everything Venn diagrams with one another, how it all intersects. And we're going to talk about the roles that us as white people have. We're going to talk about the roles that other people have. We're going to really get into the minutia of it. And then inside of the Discord, starting later, it's probably going to be in the morning. I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of a rough afternoon. But in the morning, a new channel is going to open that is on intersectionality, and it has an intro and the first kind of like article to read and kind of familiarize yourself with, you know, how intersectionality works, how we can look at things from different perspectives of people in different marginalized communities. And then there will be a chat dedicated specifically to intersectionality, and there will be prompts put in there each day that people who want to start like a journal or start a notebook that can, you know, start deconstructing, can start, you know, working on some things that I teach about deconstruction and anti-racism, but I never start with that. The thing I start with, and I think it's kind of important for this panel, is I start with ableism. And the first thing that I teach about is that as able-bodied people, we are inherently ableist. We say things without thinking. And I'm going to use an example, but if somebody is physically disabled and an earshot of you, and you say something insensitive like, we'll use LAME, and you would say that to somebody about something just being like weird or off. But when you have somebody that also is, you know, part of the disabled community, you have to understand how that affects them and how it can be offensive and how we grow out of that. So when we start off with ableism, we can talk about race, we can talk about culture, we can talk about the things that all need to be done. So we're going to, open those channels tomorrow morning. There's information already in some, and I really hope that everyone will engage and participate in that. I think we can all learn a little bit more about our journeys and try to, you know, help one another even further with the understanding and education from each other that we all have to give to one another. So thank you very much. And I hope you guys have a really great night. I'm going to throw Hawks Palings up in the poll again. And Santana
already
speaks.
did it.
Oh, all right. Fine. Be fast about it.
Boom.
And Santana Speaks 24 for the daily goal. And please gift your panel. Management, I'm going to beg you to stop gifting me and gift the panel. And so I really appreciate all of you. Let's hit those likes. I'd like to get to like 125 in the next, how about 10 to 15 minutes?
No, that's way too lenient.
Oh, listen.
7 minutes.
10 minutes is fine.
Whoa.
Thank you very much. And
both of you are just softies.
Okay, that's right. And don't forget, yes, Naquan, thank you so much. Don't forget to send your daily heart me. It really helps push the live, and share the live. I'd like 300 shares, pretty please, with sugar on top. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah. Let me just read this off. And Kay, I think this is what you were just speaking to. But W's in the chat for Jocelyn. Jocelyn sent a $5 donation and said that resources: call, text, chat 988warmline.org. Look up your state. Speak to peer counseling. Findtreatment.gov. Services listed with accepted insurance. So
yes, Jocelyn has a lot of the great ones down there, and it is a text or a call. You know, however, it is easier for you to, you know, converse. 211 is a call. So I really, you know, would like you to be able to reach out however you're most comfortable. Some people aren't comfortable talking. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Kay. W's in the chat for Kay. W's in the chat for Jocelyn. W's in the chat for you guys. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, now we are only $245 away from closing out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. All the pay links are in the Linktree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. So if you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please, please, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. Okay. Also, please, please, please don't forget about Hawk, because he's up here. Let's make sure we drop some gold doubloons in Hawk's coin purse, because I think that he's going to need that. I know when he goes to the tavern later, I mean, he might want to like tip one of the violinists that's playing, or the chamber, not the chambermaid, the gosh, what is it called?
Cellist. The cellist. Get off the classical music.
No, I'm thinking about like the like the old taverns that
Chamber singers.
No, what do they call the barkeep? The barkeep, yeah, barkeep. Anyway, whatever. Make sure we take care of Hawk. One other thing that I want to call out, I'm really excited. So, and I'll say this, and I know the whole rollout of the different marginalized communities, like that whole conversation has been in our back pockets, and we've been trying to build up to that, and the holidays and everything kind of broke it all up. But I think it's something that's super important. So yeah, if you're in the Discord, I really hope that you guys really engage with that channel. I was able to actually get a sneak peek of some of the information that's going in there. It's amazing. And I know even for myself, I've learned so much from being a part of this community, and I think that everyone has so much room to grow and opportunity to actually be better. And so I really want to lean into this and engage. And I'll even share like my favorite thing that I learned. And I don't know if Wu-Tang's here right now, but a saying that I used to say all the time, and Kate kind of hit like, having people within earshot that hears and it affects them. But the saying that I used to say was like bottom of the totem pole, right? And people have said that before, but Wu-Tang pulled us to the side and said, hey, like that's insulting to, my people, especially because the actual bottom of the totem pole is the strongest point on the totem pole, and for people to use that in like some type of incendiary way is absolutely insane. So I just say all that to say we have so much room to actually learn and grow and build with each other, and I'm just super, super excited about that opportunity. So what did I say, Wu-Tang? Did I say it wrong? I don't know. Wu-Tang, what did I say? Not the I don't know. Izzy, I want to come to you. Izzy, I want to give you the floor and allow you the opportunity. So I know we have a couple of topics, and specifically for the veterans, we were leaning into the actual restrictions to the benefits, and then also possible issues with the VA. And then also we were talking about restrictions as far as who can serve, right? Talking about how the Republican Party wants to get quote unquote wokeness out of the military, but also attacking trans people and their ability to actually serve. So you can actually go through that or through one of those topics, or add anything that you wanted to at this point. I would just love to hear where your thoughts are, especially again being in that ship moving into this new administration.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two things that you brought up, they kind of go hand in hand, right? Because this is to the best of my understanding. Someone that I served with while I was in Alaska, she's trans, and she started her transition while she was in the military, and the VA was able to help pay for her hormone replacement therapy. I don't know if she's gone through the transition surgeries or the transition procedures or not, but the procedures. I don't know if she's gone through those yet, but I do know that the VA does currently pay for those. So with Trump coming into office, I think that would be, I could very easily foresee him or the legislative bodies trying to take the gender affirming care away from trans veterans. and that would obviously be a very bad thing for them, and as a whole, we do know it to be healthcare, and uh, they should be entitled to the same benefits that myself, Hawk, Chris, Randy, I believe Raptured is also a veteran.
Nah.
They should be. Oh, I'm sorry.
She served in
but
these streets. Sorry, go ahead.
but they should be entitled to the exact same benefits that any of the veterans up here, that we receive, right? Our healthcare is taken care of through the VA. I would like to touch on some of what Randy was speaking on earlier, if that's okay. So for the tinnitus, they removed the automatic 10% that it is rated, and they lumped, I can't remember how they lumped it in with other issues, but they lumped it in basically on a grading scale. And I haven't had a chance to look too far into it, but I do know that they did do that. That is something that has already been done. There's another disability, sleep apnea, that was rated at 50% for the longest time, and they've since dropped that down to 10% in an attempt to make it more difficult for people to get a higher percentage payout. They also, so when you're going through your disability ratings, or your initial appointments for your initial rating, you can get marked, or you could get marked at what is 0% but service connected, or with a service connection. So what that gave you the ability to do is, while you wouldn't draw a percent off of it and it wouldn't touch your pay, it would allow you to continue to be able to be seen for that specific issue. So now it's either it is 8% or it's not service connected whatsoever. And so that would significantly affect veterans' healthcare as far as being able to be seen for issues that, while it might not affect their day-to-day living, it is something that does need to be treated and needs to be seen as with any other issue that they have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Chris, I saw you nodding along. I don't know if there was something specific that you wanted to add to that point or expand anymore.
No, that's good stuff. I think he hit it. Izzy's a common W, so there's not much I really need to add to that. But kind of just to wrap up what he was saying, right? That's the subtleness, right, of the politics, right? They're going to quote unquote cut costs by doing exactly what he just said, right? By just doing it behind people's backs and without the backs of the media. So making these disabilities all of a sudden, right, less probability for a veteran to get it. That's how they're quote unquote saving cost, is what Doge would put it. But that disadvantages them because now they don't have the ability to put this on the record. So this is the same thing, right? We're never going to see this in public. Just like what I talked about force reduction, right? The same thing's happening in the VA medical system. Like we're never going to just see this point blank in public. It's always going to go behind the scenes somehow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the interesting thing to me, and I know a couple of people have spoken on it already, but it tends to happen a lot in politics anyway, where they look to pass bills and they add quote unquote fat into bills where they can actually sneak or word things differently, and I think that's something that we need to be aware of, right? And we need to watch that, because even now that they've already started to try to pass bills that I think it was what is it? The one where they are trying to change the wording and make it seem as if it's about women's reproductive health, but it's kind of a sneaky roundabout way to start the lay the groundwork for an AB ban. And I think it's
It was like the Women's Health Committee or Coalition, and it was nothing but a bunch of old white men. Yeah, that was it.
And read the last two lines of that.
Exactly.
That's the part that you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think that's something that we're going to see more of, and we need to be cautious, careful, and aware. And, a lot of people are bad about just reading the headlines. especially over these next 4 years, we're gonna have to make sure that we get into the details of everything. So
Absolutely. And there was a couple of other things within the VA that I could foresee them trying to go after. Um, because kind of like what kind of to a little bit to Hawk's point earlier, right, where he was discussing the discontinuation of simultaneous pay. Something because what is it? The Supreme Court ruled, I believe it was June of 2023, that veterans are now that veterans are now entitled, so long as they serve 6 or more years, to both the Montgomery GI Bill and the post 9/11 GI Bill. So what I could foresee happening is there is a program called the VRNE. I can't remember what the acronym stands for off the top of my head, but it is another degree producing education benefit, and it is very similar to the post 9/11 GI Bill, but it doesn't have a cap on tuition. So however much tuition is 100% covered, and you get a housing stipend monthly based off the zip code of where the school is. So like if you wanted to get a bachelor's degree and then go for a master's or a doctoral level degree, you can use that. But since that is tied in with the VA, if they do the overhaul of reformations to the VA that they're wanting to do, I could foresee them trying to get that put out of the picture, because they don't want people utilizing it. As the Trump administration stands, right, they don't want people becoming educated. They don't want people to be able to utilize that. So having an educated veteran populace would be very bad for them, and taking that one extra degree away could be detrimental to us.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's important because it's about the margins, right? And something that I don't think we'll see will happen over these next 4 years. I don't think we're going to necessarily see rapid change a lot, right? I don't think there's just going to be these massive swings, but I do think that they're going to start pushing around the margins until they can push more, and then people feel more comfortable with the things that they're taking away, or the way that you're being restricted, and they're going to push as much as possible. So again, that's something that we have to be aware of. Ren, you had your hand up.
Yeah, this wasn't. It just made me think of something when you talking about GI Bills, and somebody said something about vocational rehabilitation, and it just made me think. I was just sitting here using my Google, and I just realized a lot of vocational rehabilitation services are funded by the Department of Education.
I was just thinking about the Department of Education as well as I heard that, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ren.
So guess what that means? People with disabilities who use vocational rehabilitation to start businesses, to find gainful employment, to help with college tuition, to also assist with things like getting accessible vehicle. What is those things? I'm forgetting the word where you transform something into something else. Conversions. There it goes. Vehicle conversions and things like that. That vocational rehabilitation, home modifications, all of those things that helps disabled people live gainful lives. Gone. Just gone. Just pissing in the wind.
Yep. That's a whole thing.
I think the vocational rehabilitation, that's what the VRNE was formerly. Now I pulled it up so I could make sure I had the right words for it. It's Veteran Readiness and Employment. It was formerly the Veterans Vocational Rehabilitation Program, though.
Yeah, and that was for the veterans specifically, but vocational rehabilitation also on the state level outside of the veteran aspect of it. A lot of those programs work with people with disabilities, not service-related disabilities, just, I guess, run-of-the-mill disabilities. I don't think that's the best way to say that, but that's all I got right now.
Well, and it could be both. You're right. I think they were designed initially just for people with disabilities, period. But it's something that could augment veterans benefits as well. But to your point, if they get rid of the Department of Education, significant funding is going to be gone from those programs.
Yeah, and that's terrifying for veterans and folks that didn't serve like me, who are just disabled. That's terrifying because imagine if you cut those services, because a lot of the services, those vocational rehabilitation centers, they partner with Social Security, and Social Security has something called the Ticket to Work program, where if you're receiving Social Security disability insurance, you can work for like 9 months and it won't cut you off of Social Security depending on the amount you make, right? But a lot of those Ticket to Work programs are run through vocational rehabilitation programs in the States. So I don't think people understand that all of these different parts of government they go in a circle like a carousel, right? And yeah, sometimes some of us are riding a little sleigh and some of us are riding the horses, but we all on this carousel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the part that I struggle with, when people don't understand that. When people don't understand that even what, like, you might think that you're voting against someone. I'll make this super simple, and then I want to make sure that I get to the people that we haven't spoke to yet. But no one that I've spoken with still hasn't given me a good reason why transgender people shouldn't be able to serve in the military, right? They just haven't. And with that being said, the huge massive push to get transgender people out of the military, in my opinion, weakens our military, right? I mean, because you're taking away able bodies who are willing to actually do the job. But people are just thinking inside of their hateful thoughts, but they don't think about what that actually does to other people. Not only the people that are directly affected, but also like it puts us as the United States at risk. So you're absolutely right with that, Ren. You're spot on. I want to come to Fee. Fee, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Fee, I wanted to give you the floor so you can I will let you guide the conversation wherever you want to go. You've been super patient, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to take it whatever direction you wanted to go.
No problem. I'm going to make kind of a joke, not joke, about what you just said, not meaning it in a funny way, but maybe they don't want transgender people in there because some of them are what I would call the 1 in 5. So 1 in 5 women are essayed, which means that 1 in 5 men do it. And they don't want to be confused when they go to try to assault them. So that's just my answer. But I will say that a lot of people don't realize that if things are changed for Medicare and Medicaid, they will impact able-bodied people, because everything that is done through insurance is based off of what Medicare and Medicaid approve. If they do not approve it, you are not getting it done under regular health insurance. So they actually make up the coding. So if there's no code, a lot of the time those things are seen as experimental. So, for example, someone like myself as an amputee, there are certain prosthetics that you likely would not be able to get. There's some people that are able to get them. People in the VA oftentimes are able to get them, again, because of their special system. So again, without them having this same thing. But if Medicare has not provided a code, then they will tell you this is going to be a likely impossibility, because this has to go in as like a 99999, and that is an automatic rejection in through the healthcare system, because it goes through a computer first. It doesn't even go through a person. So I don't think, and that's someone that had to fight for a prosthetic. I have regular insurance. My leg isn't going to grow back, but I had to literally fight. I had to go through, I think I went through 3 denials. So I just don't think that people understand what will happen to your regular insurance if the people who really need help, that changes are made against them. So I just wanted to bring that up. There was something else that Ren talked about, but I forgot. I wanted to piggyback off of that. But yeah, just those sort of things, just putting that out there.
Yeah. No, I completely agree and understand. And I appreciate that. Something I do, like, I would be remiss if I didn't call out. Um, anyone that knows me knows that I'm always here for a good joke. But I do want to say, like, we want to kind of stay away from jokes like that, because those jokes are definitely harmful in a lot of different ways, and that's the reason why we're speaking to this. That's another reason why they're trying to get transgender people out of the military. And so I understand the premise behind a good joke, but we just want to make sure that we're not allowing any harmful rhetoric to continue, because it can be used by other people and be weaponized even if we use it as a joke. So but thank you for that. Lady Artemis, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Hey there.
My husband's here as well. He is.
What up, hubby?
Army.
Hey.
His name is Manny, in case anyone wants to address him, but he's active duty Army. He's 68 whiskey.
Medic.
Okay, I was about to say 68 whiskey. That sounds good. I could go for some 68 whiskey.
Hey, that was my MOS when I was 10.
Okay, so listen, I have both of you here, so both of you are going to get the questions. What are your pronouns? What community do you belong to? And what are your expectations over the next 4 years under these communities? Under the Trump administration for these communities?
You go first.
Gotcha. Okay, so she, her for me. Under the communities, I am a cis woman, but as we know, being a woman is tantamount to being a broodmare under what Trump is bringing along, which terrifies me. And I'm also not necessarily my husband's caretaker, but I am his rock, as he is mine. So when he has those stressful PTSD days, I'm glad to say I'm here for him.
Absolutely.
And vice versa, of course. And I am honestly expecting 4 years of genuine hell, if I'm being honest. I am so concerned. My husband's mom, my mother-in-law, sweetest woman on earth, she came here illegally and got legalized. She came here from El Salvador seeking a better life. And with Trump screaming how he wants to it doesn't matter if you're legalized now, it doesn't matter if your kids were born here legally, it doesn't matter if you're married to someone who is here legal, all of you are getting thrown out. Every last one of you, you're getting thrown out.
Still can't do.
But yeah, my husband holds true to the Constitution. I hold true to the fact that this man has a scary amount of power. And that's what terrifies me. But I will pause before I go too far down that rabbit hole. I'll let my hubby answer next.
Okay.
One.
I'm sorry. Was that someone else about to say something before Manny?
No, you go first, bro. You're good.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No.
Please go first.
No. You're perfectly fine. Just an FYI. So, Hawk, you might know a little bit more about this than I do, but is there an issue? Because, Manny, you're active duty, right?
Yes, I am. Currently active duty, about to hit my 13th year.
Okay. Hawk, is there a restriction as far as having active duty on the TikTok lives?
No, I mean, technically, he would just need to be careful about things that he would say. I don't think he's
Yep.
going to say anything that
Okay.
could possibly.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
worried about you, and we got some information, and so
No,
I just wanted to
got
make
you.
sure you were good.
Yeah, no, I love that too. Also, thank you, because I know, be careful what you say on the internet.
Okay.
That's
Absolutely.
my job.
Okay, perfect. Floor is yours.
Hey there, I'm just Manny. I'm just me. So I love everyone and love you, whoever you are. I accept everyone. So that's just me. What was the question about Trump, right?
Well, you already answered the community that you're part of. You're a veteran. What are your expectations? I'll just say, what are your expectations for the veteran community in relation to each other over these next 4 years?
So I remember him talking all this great smack about taking care of us, and now I'm hearing all this crazy smack that he's not going to take care of us. And I can tell you, those that have served and have been in and have gotten out, being in the VA is a nightmare. You are being told that, like, literally, if I feel like SIing myself tonight, cool, we have an appointment for you. It's in the next 6 months. And it's like, what? Like, bro, that's way too far. Like, yeah, well, that's all we got. And now he's going to make it even worse for us is terrible. As for the rest of the 4 years, I am doing what I tell my wife every day. I am by your side. I am with you. I am not a person against my nation. I love being American. But if one day we wake up and it's that one TV show on FX, I've already told her, okay, then we're going to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
If it becomes Handmaid's Tale.
There you go.
I didn't know if you guys were talking about Walking Dead, because I was about to say, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh Lord, no. Then we all have to have a plan. Like I've already got plans of like blocking off parts of El Paso. Like y'all come to me, we will be an army. We got this. Like
I'm ready for the zombie apocalypse. Just an FYI.
Always.
But anyway,
always.
But I'm just like any other person should be right now. Is if you have a significant other, doesn't matter who or what they are. Once again, I love all of you. Be supportive. And if the next 4 years, because that's a big if, man, the Constitution is a rock hard law that just because he's crazy and old doesn't mean he gets to change it.
You see what I mean when I say his faith to the Constitution? That's where his oath was. As service members in here know, that was what your oath was for.
Look, I'm not one of those goobers in the gym where it's tattooed on my arm, okay? I know the rules. And when people say, oh, he's going to make it a dictatorship, he's not allowed to. He's not. And people are like, oh, he's going to make it a king. He's not allowed to. That's what America is based on, not to be under a king. But if he wants to get rid of it, got it. I will go to Canada with my family.
Absolutely, bye. One thing, when it comes to the whole lack of women's health care, more of the women control and dictatorship, we might actually be pregnant right now, and hopefully we are. It is actively trying. We are actively trying. This is wanted, but I would be absolutely lying if I didn't say there are plans set in place for emergent situations, and if my life comes into jeopardy, we have places we're going to go, because I am not leaving my husband. I'm not leaving my sons. I am not leaving my daughter. I'm not leaving Earth without one hell of a fight. And if that means, hey, well, you went and got something done, now we're going to come after you, I will stand on that pyre. You can burn me as a witch, knock yourself out, and I'm a whole Christian, but you can go ahead and burn me as a witch. I will take that L, because you're not taking my health care from me. Oh. If you're not gonna try and rule my body or my life. Okay. Go ahead, Ben.
Sorry, just for the shout out to that one guy that wanted to make sure I don't say anything wrong. I'm just reminding everybody, we're under federal law, not state law. So unless the whole United States wants to say something different to me, I am under federal law where I am allowed to go to state to do medical procedures. Just letting you all know.
That's another way we have, in case he has to help take care of me. Should something hopefully not go awry, but should something happen.
Well, someone's going to say something.
No, always. But
just in case, you got a cousin in Illinois if you ever need one. Okay?
You are literally the best. You have my entire heart. And I'm like, so many kisses to you. I will DM you. Please DM me too, in case I don't get to you. DM me. One thing that I do want to touch on is that with this administration coming in that mocks mental health and well-being, as someone who's a survivor of DV, CSA, and SA, that feels like a violation all over again. It feels like the people who had looked at me and brushed me off, or the people who looked at me and said, "You're imagining things," or "What were you wearing? Did you did you start the fight? Okay, well, why was he mad? Okay, when he was smashing your head against the car window, why didn't you get out? Well, gee, he locked me in. Okay, you could have tried to unlock, not when he power locked and slammed the thing down. I can't unlock the car. And it's being told.
It's okay.
I get emo. Forgive me, my husband's being my rock right now.
No, you're good.
But it's being told your trauma does not matter. And anybody who suffers from PTSD for whatever reason, my military brothers and sisters too, my fellow survivors, being told that it's in your head and you're not, it's not real. Mental health isn't real. Being told that is a slap in the face. And I want every last one of you to know how much I love you. And if no one has told you today, I'm proud of you. And I'm so glad you guys are here. And please call 988 if you guys ever need anything, or reach out to me.
Yeah. And I just want to say, and I know, one, we always want to be able to share and definitely feel what we feel. And I'm sorry I didn't get in, but a trigger warning for anyone that might be affected. But yeah, and you actually led me exactly where I wanted to go next, because that was something that Christopher actually started with bringing up and speaking to that mental health. And it's interesting. I don't know if Lady Artemis, if you heard Chris when we first started, or not Christopher, when we first started, and he was talking about the people with disabilities and how they have to attend to their mental health. But I said I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed within the veteran community and just in general, right? So I want to start, now we've kind of hit the panel, and I want us to be able to talk a little bit more, but I want to start cycling a few people out so we can get people in, because I know there's people that want to add to the conversation. So I want to come back to you, Christopher, and I want to give you the floor again and see, just based off of what you've heard so far, what did you want to add, and if you wanted to actually add anything additional to that whole aspect of mental health, especially after hearing a couple of things that people had to say, and then also the resources that we've been able to share so far, which good on you for pushing that out. But I wanted to give you the floor.
Yeah, so I've been listening and reflecting on everything that has been said today, and I want to first start off by saying that way back when Kay was on here, she was talking about ableism and how that affects the disabled community. I know that a lot of people know this already, but I'm going to remind everyone that words matter, and also words can hurt. Mm-hmm. So I will give an example. There's a particular C word that I don't like. So I use the term disabled because I think that particular C word is very insulting to me. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I use the term disabled. But also, just going back to the whole thing about mental health, it's super important because in a way, for me personally, it feels like you're on an island and you're going at it alone because nobody really understands. And I think that it's really vital to do things like taking care of yourself mentally, going to therapy, and especially surrounding yourself with a really solid support group, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the only people that you got. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if she's in the chat, but I have my best friend who is my number one ride or die. She will drop everything that she is doing just to listen to me. Like the other day, we were talking at like 2 in the morning about just the things that I have been feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's in the chat, let's get some W's in the chat for Lex. She's amazing.
What up, Lex? W's in the chat for Lex. Guys, blow it up. 1,000,000 W's in the chat for Lex.
So that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for letting me have this opportunity to be with you for 3 days and sharing a part of my story. I really appreciate you, Santana.
No, listen, you know you're an amazing part of our community, and also one of our newest mods. W's in the chat for Christopher. But thank you for joining the panel and joining the discussion and just providing so much transparency on your life, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we'll drop you down. Randy, I wanted to come back to you because I know it's been a while since we've heard anything from you, so I wanted to give you the floor and see where you wanted to take it. Randy, are you there? I see you came off mute. Can anyone hear me? Chris, shake your okay. Okay, wait, there you okay, you coming in like a quiet storm. Yeah. You were coming in like a quiet storm.
No, I had dropped my earbud.
Ah, okay.
And I didn't hear what you said.
Oh yeah. No. I said I wanted to come back to you because I know that you it's been a while since you've gotten opportunity to chime in, so I wanted to give you the floor, opportunity to add anything else after we've kind of round robin.
Okay. Pretty much everything I was going to say, y'all pretty much covered it. Pretty much covered. I was also here the last part of last night.
Mm-hmm.
Caught like the last maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it as far. I'm just thinking because y'all already covered mental health. Anybody have any questions for me? Somebody's ringing.
That was me. That was TikTok Studio. Oh. Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, any last questions for me or?
No, I think the only thing that I would say, or not say, the only question I would have is if there's any advice as a veteran that you would lend to your community as far as protecting their mental health. I mean, is there any high level advice or anything that you could possibly share that you do for that?
Okay. Like I said, I do telehealth, but it's not like I can just call and say, hey, I need an appointment right then. So it's always important to have someone else you can talk to at any given time. So make sure you have someone you can talk to. Make sure you have all the information you need. It was mentioned earlier about 988. Just have some type of outlet to reach out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you, Randy. And before I let you go, I want to read this off because I feel like this applies as well. And so I'm gonna say W for Mallory. Mallory sent a $3 donation to say, please let people know that the VA offers same-day appointments and has crisis team on standby for SI.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And what's SI?
Self-deletion.
Oh.
Yeah, self-deletion.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, W's in the chat for Mallory. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yeah, because I know they have, like, let's say if you injure yourself or something, because I know the VA I go to, they have urgent care. You can pretty much walk right in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I do know. But as far yeah, I didn't know that information.
Yeah.
Neither did we. Had no
Yeah.
idea.
Thank you. Yeah, for real.
Oh, I know one more thing I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Now it crossed my mind. So, um, Lady Artemis, your husband. I don't know if you're gonna stay and make a career out of it, but I will say this. I don't know if it's still called tapping out. We transition as far as before you get out. You know how they'll ask you there's different questions about your medical and things like that.
Hmm.
Go ahead and start before you get out, getting the things for the VA prepared. It's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
easier because I know with me, mine was after I got out, and it took me about maybe 6-7 months or something like that. But it's
Oh yeah.
easier
No.
if you do it on your way out.
Yeah, what you're saying, I know what you're saying because it's true. Because I've been in 13 years and I've been delaying pain in my knee. I had a weird rib pain that they still can't figure out, and that's like cool. And I just did a sleep apnea just a little while ago because I'm snoring and can't sleep well and
Your
all that
kidney
shit.
stone.
And the kidney stone because I drink too much. But anyway, but yes,
Make sure,
what you're saying is true, and I'm finally doing that 13 years instead
yeah,
of
but
waiting until the last year.
yeah, but make sure though you have all that in your medical records, and be sure you keep copies on you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And keep copies because the VA will lose it. Plus, I don't know when you got out, but we started the new thing, the Genesis, and as soon as they started Genesis, they're like, "Oh, my medical record disappeared." I've had many patients already say that it's gone, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great."
Oh wow!
It's only
I
been
got
19 years of your life.
yeah, I got out in '05.
Oh, okay, yeah, you had the old school stuff. Hey, thank you
Yeah.
so much for your service, by the way. '05,
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm
when you were
sorry.
in, it was hard.
I'm remiss. Thank you to all the veterans on the panel for your service. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you to every last one of you.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
when he,
I'm sorry. Go
sorry,
ahead.
when Randy was in basic, they were allowed to put hands on you. So
When
it already started bad for him.
the whole listen, I know the PT is different because I still have family that's in. I mean, I got one of my cousins. He works up in Washington, but even the PT has changed for the Army. Y'all using kettlebells and all kind of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hardcore back then. So
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
wait, no emotional cards to pull?
Oh God.
No, y'all
He
giving me
gets so mad when I
flashbacks.
bring that up.
I'll just say when Hawk was
Don't start.
when Hawk was in basic.
Oh, they had C-rats.
No, he
The War of
trained.
1812.
Actually, yes, they did. When I came in, we still had C-Rats. Don't start, Chris.
Wait a minute.
Wait,
Hold
no,
on,
no,
hold
no,
on.
no, no. When Hawk was in basic, they trained with muskets.
Ha ha.
So
Hold on. I have to ask Hawk this question. Did you Did they come with cigarettes in them?
No, that was only
Okay. So
during,
you
that
didn't
was
go
only
back
during
that far. Then
wartime.
you didn't go
Yeah,
back
it was
that far.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Give
only
General
during
George
wartime.
Washington my
Lucky strike.
regards.
What you talking about?
But literally,
The
I
War of
was
1812.
I was a drill instructor when the MREs came out, and we had to learn how to prepare them and work them and everything else in order to teach them to the recruits because it was brand new.
Oh yeah.
That was in the
You talking
80s.
about the ones with the where you put the water in and
Yeah,
I just
all of that.
Little
Yes, all of
heaters.
that, man.
you just eat them out the wrapper.
Even those have changed. Well, now you can. Back then you couldn't, because if you ate a lot of that stuff was dehydrated. So if you ate it without preparing it and it rehydrated in your belly, that was not pretty.
hey, listen, that's why they say drink water.
drink water. I know that one. Anyway, Randy, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us.
All
I
right, thank you.
appreciate you. All right, have a good one.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Fee, I wanted to give you the floor again. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of add or speak to as far as the overarching conversations that we've been having?
Sure. I did also. I was a parent of a child with a disability. She was born with cerebral palsy after a car accident, and because that was way back in 1995, before the ACA, she was actually denied health care at 1 month old because we're
Oh my
only,
God.
required to cover them for the first month. So I know a lot of people think this kind of stuff doesn't happen, but she did have a pre-existing condition, right? So they denied her. The state was the only one that would take care of her through Social Security. At that time, I don't know, I was probably making like $7 an hour or something. And literally, I know a lot of people also don't understand that when you're on that type of thing, especially if you're a caregiver, you can only make a certain amount of money. And I wasn't concerned about the monetary help. I was more so concerned about her medical. And because there was no other options back then. And they told me I couldn't make more than $10 an hour. And I was like, well, what do I do if if the job wants to pay me more than that? And they said they need to pay you $9.99 or you lose everything. So it is like super important. Her life really depended on that. I couldn't have afforded those bills in any way. I'm lucky that I don't have the same health concerns that she did. I'm also I'm newer to the community. I've only been an amputee for a little bit less than 4 years. So I was totally healthy before this happened. And I also want to say one thing that happens, and in the disability community, we do this. So it's something to also be aware of from able bodied people and people with disabilities is be careful of assuming what someone can do just because you don't think that their disability qualifies, or you think that because you know amputees run track and climb mountains that every single one of them should be able to do the same thing, so each person should be able to go to work, or that is so it just does not help anybody. And I know we're taught this from the top for so many social programs, because the more they can help us to fight against the programs, the more they can take them away. And we don't understand that it doesn't help anybody. It does not help you if you get in that situation and you need help, and then you're saying, where's the help? You didn't want it when you were able bodied, and you said, well, I go to work. They should be able to go to work too. So be very, very careful and very mindful of that. The people to the side of you aren't taking anything from you. Just look up.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely, and thank you so much for that. That's actually an amazing perspective. Um, Wow. A lot of people don't think about that, and the fact that just because you're able-bodied today doesn't mean that you couldn't be a part of the you couldn't have a disability tomorrow. So that is amazing perspective. Thank you so much for that, Fee. Thank you for coming up and actually spending time with us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Can I say something that kind of sags into what she just said?
Yeah, no, I was just about to come to you. 1 second though. Welcome in, Dan Ray. Welcome in, guys. Tap the screen, share the live out, do all the wonderful things. If you guys are new here, give me a follow. If you are interested as far as what we have going on tonight, we are actually talking to people. We're specifically targeting what the next 4 years under the Trump administration is going to look like for people with disabilities or veterans. We're talking to people that have disabilities and also vets, but we are also looking for Trump supporters, people who want to actually speak on the perspective of what they think the life will look like for these communities over the next 4 years under the Trump administration. So if you are someone that is a veteran, someone that is a part of the disabled community, or someone that is a Trump supporter and you would like to lend your voice to this panel, please go ahead and request up. Also, guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 150,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 400 shares. And guys, we still have $242 in our nightly donation goal. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, All the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. So if you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And please don't forget about my special host, Hawk, because Hawk is up here laboring with me, and we want to make sure we take care of him. Ren, I want to come to you, and then Chris, I'll come to you right after Ren. Ren, was there anything else that you wanted to add? And then I know something you said you wanted to trail onto it as well.
Well, just I wanted to touch on what Fee said. So there's something in the disability community that they say that a lot of people do for people with disabilities. They say things like, "Oh, you're so inspiring." They call it inspiration corn, and you know what word I'm supposed to. Yeah, and it's just this thought. And keep in mind, as a disabled person, I've had somebody say, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't live like you. I would just end it all if I was in your situation." That is a really crappy way to talk to somebody. Like, that is an awful thing to say. I lead a good life. It's not an easy life, but it's a good life.
Yeah.
And I need people to stop believing that disability is a monolith, right? But the thing about disability is that's the one, I won't say the only marginalization, but it's a marginalization that the majority of people will end up in at some point. In some shape, form, or fashion, you will end up with some type of disability. If we want to tell the truth, wearing glasses is essentially a disability because you cannot see without them. And once we start to understand just how all-encompassing disability is, that is when we will genuinely start to see some change.
Yeah. No, Ren, you hit it dead on the head. And, you know, I think I was talking to my mom today about it because she watched last night, and I thought she fell asleep watching because she watched for so long, but apparently she was actually really watching, and she loved the panel, and she loved all you guys, and she learned so much. But I told her about, you know, the course we're taking with the intersectionality, and I was speaking to the fact, and Ren, like, this is going to hit home for you, but like the fact that we have certain people that hit categories where you're part of the disabled community, but you're also a black woman, or you're also black and you're also a woman. It's like, it's so many different things. So I think you hit it right on the head. And for anyone to say, you know, like, oh, you know, you should just end it. Like, one, that's insane. But two, like, I don't know how perfect people think they are, but like, to your point, it's always something.
Look, we are all doing, well, a lot of us, we're all doing the best we can on this floating rock.
Yep.
Like, that's all we doing. We're doing the best we can on this floating rock.
Yep. And I tell you what, and like, so, you know, I fall, I guess I would fall in that category as well, because I wear glasses, right, one of my contacts, but it's always something for me, and I'll just share this, like, it's not a disability or anything like that, but like, my thing is my height, right? My height is like a weird thing for me, so I'm always either hitting my head on something, or something is like too small, or if I'm taking if I'm flying on a plane, then my knees are always cramped up. And so, like, it's always something. So no matter what it is, it's always a situation. So you're absolutely right.
Yep. And we all have to, again, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Community.
Yep.
It is going to be so incredibly important. And we're going to have to understand that no matter what your belief systems are, no matter how you think about something, your dietary restrictions, whatever, the things that separate us are, no matter what, we're going to have to push that to the side, because at this point, we have a greater good to work towards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, perfect, Ren. Thank you so much for coming up. Thank you for hanging
No
out with
problem.
us. And you know that again, the reason why I said what I said about the intersectionality is because we're gonna need you back. So, thank you
I'll be
for
around.
being here. All right, I appreciate you, Ren.
No problems. Bye.
Chris, you had your hand up.
Just wanted to leave some parting words because I'm about to go to bed. But
You always about to go to bed, Chris. Whatever. No, go ahead.
you know your boy wakes up and trains. So I guess not everybody knows this, but for my veteran community, right? And Joe Biden did a good job with this because one of his policies this rolled out. In case you didn't know, right, on the Android and the iOS, you can get the VA app, right? You can do everything, schedule appointments if you really need to see somebody. Because if I can talk to somebody face to face, something about it, you can do all your mental health appointments, your physical therapy appointments, with your phone, if you want to. And it's going to be very important over these next 4 years and all these other stuff. And Santana, I just want to thank you. What you're doing is very noble and very charitable. And the fact that, the government's going to be overlooking these populations by not providing the type of information that you do here. So, yeah, thank you for looking out for us. And to Izzy, Hawk, Manny, Lady Artemis, and, all my other veteran crew, I'm glad that we're all sticking together through this because when we took the oath that said against all enemies, foreign and domestic, like the domestic part hits hard. Like we've all gone someplace overseas, right? And seeing that the literal enemy is in office on January 20th, I never thought I'd live to see the day. So let's just keep checking up on each other, keep informing people. And Santana, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chris.
He's right.
You know what it is. I appreciate you, and you have a wonderful evening. Izzy, I wanted to come to you, give you the floor again, give you space if there is something else you wanted to say or anything else that you wanted to add.
Absolutely. First, I want to start with Santana. I know that I said I would be in earlier this week. I'm sorry I wasn't able to.
No,
I got
listen,
caught up
you're
in,
here. That's all that matters.
I got caught up in Brett's lives the last couple nights. There were some late nights with some rowdy fucking people.
Hey, Brett tried to say the new lighting making him look like that. He looked like a ghost. He's white as Casper. I told him, I said, why you look like Casper? I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I am very happy I got to come up here tonight, and thank you so much for giving us this space. The only thing that I would like to throw out there before I go, if it's all right with you, I'd like to plug something really quick. It's not of my own.
Do it.
So I and Mr. Artemis, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Manny.
Manny.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
AKA Mr. Artemis.
Mr. Artemis.
That's a good name too.
So for you specifically, whenever you do get out of the service, whether that's just ETSing or retiring out, do keep in mind that VA disability and VA healthcare are two separate things. So once you get out, you will need to apply for the healthcare aspect of it. I was not aware of this when I first got out.
Okay. Yeah.
Second, there is a nonprofit organization called the Stephen Cohen Center. So Stephen Cohen is the owner of the New York Mets. He had a son who was in the Marine Corps, and something happened to him. I don't remember if it was a self-deletion or if it was an attempt at self-deletion. But ever since then, he opened up. I think they're at over 50 centers across the United States. This is open to veterans, veterans and active duty military, and they take all forms of healthcare to include TRICARE. They also have grants for people who are unable to afford it and do not have health insurance. But they provide phenomenal service. This part is for everyone. This isn't just specific to Manny. But for all my veterans out there, for anyone who is in the military currently that's listening in, that is an amazing, they're an amazing clinic to be able to utilize. And they do have excellent service and excellent programs, group stuff for people who are going currently, who have gone, outreach programs, stuff like that. So check them out if y'all are able to, or if y'all feel like you want to get away from the military mental health facilities, because I know that some of they can be very hit and miss.
Yes, they're quite terrible. But that's awesome information, because as a medic, I tell current active, I tell people that get out, people that have family, I tell them all the time. I'm a personal fan of Military One Source. I've called them 3 times in my life, and they've saved my life. But to know that there's more other places out there like that is great to hear. And I will tell all the soldiers that I deal with every day, hey, there's more options than the place that says you get an appointment 3 months from now. It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, they have much better availability for their patients, and again, they do take TRICARE, so all they need to do is get an authorization from their PCM to be able to go see them.
Thank you so much. That is awesome news to hear.
Absolutely. Santana, you have a great night. Hawk, always great seeing you. Artemis, always great seeing you as well.
You too, honey.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Izzy. I appreciate you. Thank you. Artemis? Mr. Artemis?
Yes, we're here.
Is there anything that you guys like to say or add? And before you even do, though, let me just call this out. Like, I love your energy. Like,
Thank you.
Like, you guys are super infectious and in a good way, right? We're not talking about, other stuff, but no, like, seriously, it's been a pleasure listening to both of you speak, and I'm super happy that you guys actually joined the panel, but wanted to give you the floor for anything else that you wanted to add.
Sure. Actually, I was asking my husband if he would, for those on the panel and in the comments who are not military, I know people get confused about like what can cause PTSD. I know me being, granted, I'm from a military family. My dad was Air Force, Grandpa Navy. I've got people Coast Guard all over. And of course, as you know, hubby's Army, but being a civilian still, it's, I'm not sure what is it that can give you PTSD? What is it that can cause the depression? What can cause these things to happen? And my husband actually told me, well, there was this one thing when he was in South Korea. I will let him tell it though.
Oh, the South Korea thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thank you for letting me be here. I'm here because my wife, and she's amazing. She's my rock. So when she says, hey, do you want to join? Of course, I'll do anything for you. So
I love you.
when I joined in 2012, the first 10 weeks of my basic, I was told constantly, hey, you're not going to make it. And I'm not going to say the D word. You're not going to make it because the war is the war, and you're just going to be there and you're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. And in those 10 weeks, I prepared myself to, okay, well, I'm not going to make it, but my family will be financially secured. Mm-hmm. In 2017, I went to South Korea. Mm-hmm. I was stationed at the most northern base ever. As soon as I got off the plane, we were told literally straight up, hey, if North Korea goes to war, you're not going to stop them. You're the speed bump.
Holy smokes.
You're going to delay them as much as you can, but they are going to go right through you. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm back to the mindset of I'm not going to make it in the next 9 months to go home. Because, North Korea was already crazy mad at the time in 2017. Mm-hmm. They were blasting K-pop. One of the South Koreans stepped on a landmine. This is public information, so I'm allowed to say it. But, I spent the next 9 months thinking, oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to go home. Mm-hmm. And, that messes with your head. Every day is like, hey, is this the day? Is this the day I'm not going to? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's nothing. No, I got it. I know it's nothing. But for me, it was everything, because at that time I had 2 kids that they're my world. And I want to be in their world.
Absolutely.
So now, thankfully, God blessed me with 3. Hopefully we're on 4.
Building a whole starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to be satisfied until I have. If we're pregnant right now, then I want 2 more, so we would have 6 total, and then I'd be happy.
But PTSD this is for everybody. Okay, this is not a hey, I'm a service member thing. Mm-hmm. PTSD is PTSD. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can have a major effect in your life that affects your life, and you think you're not alone, but you are not alone. We are here. We love you. Not everybody loves you, and I'm sorry that happens. But I'm here. My wife is here. You're here, and you sound like a great guy. I just met you tonight, but you sound like a great guy.
I'm okay.
And I've met some people. I've met some people online, and just know that, hey, if you ever feel alone, you're not alone. So please always reach out, by all means.
Absolutely.
No, thank you both. Thank you both. I really appreciate you guys coming up and actually spending time with us. And like I said, bringing that energy to the panel. You both are amazing, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm following you guys, so please
Awesome.
follow back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
You
Take
guys
care.
too.
All right, guys. So we have a fresh new lineup on the panel. We have one spot open if anybody else wants to actually join. Hawk, I'm going to actually turn the panel over to you to do introductions, run all the new people through the 3 questions. I'm going to give it to you a moment, and I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. Well, I guess everybody up here is pretty much new, so I'll just go around. Sharon, you there? Sharon Young, 775. Okay, I'll skip Sharon for a second. Silver, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Hawk. How are you?
I'm good. I know we know you, but just to
Yes.
get this out for everybody up here, could you answer our 3 questions? First, your pronouns, and then what community you're in, either if you're a person with disabilities or if you're a veteran, and what are your thoughts on what's going to happen for the next 4 years?
Absolutely. Pronouns are she, her. Yes, I am a combat veteran. I am 100% disabled. My disability comes 100% from MST, which is military SA trauma. There's actually an app for that as well. I know there's been a lot of information given out, like the VA app and things like that, but there's actually an app called Beyond MST that is very specifically for those that have suffered MST from their service. And so that's one I'd like to put out there that has been helpful and beneficial to me. And as far as the next 4 years, I know I actually spoke about my feelings on that yesterday. And so I wanted to kind of give some time to a bill that Biden actually just passed this month. He passed it on the 2nd of January, and it's the Senator Elizabeth Dole 21st Century Veterans Healthcare and Benefits Improvement Act. And I'm hoping that everybody will get a chance to maybe read that in the next few days and give their impression of it, because it does give some protection to our caregivers that do have benefits when they care for service members with disabilities. And it gives some protections to schooling for veterans as well. I know that that's been touched on up here as well. And then as well as some medical benefits, it gives some stuff. So I know that the Biden administration is working overtime right now to get some protections into place, because we do know that HR 3118 is under fire. And so while I am concerned about the next 4 years, I do feel that there's a group here within our government that is fighting hard for that. And then the other bill that I wanted to kind of bring attention to that directly correlates to military service members and self-deletion, because we know that when Obama signed the Choice and Accountability Act, a lot of people talk about that choice piece, but they don't talk about the accountability piece. The accountability piece is very important when it comes to our 22 a day, because it began to hold government and the VA accountable if a service member self-deleted in the first 5 years after leaving service, which is what they found to be the highest problematic time for veterans. And so this bill, it is HR 10487, and I'd love to get everybody's opinion on this because it does sound a little controversial. It says it is meant to direct the Secretary of Veterans Affairs to carry out a pilot program to provide temporary pew storage to veterans who seek to store their firearms outside of their residence due to certain mental health conditions or for other purposes. And the reason I kind of approve it just when we look at that name, because it's kind of like an arms room for us if we feel that we may be harmed, because we know there was a 2023 report that was put out that shows that pew-pews were used in upwards of 85% of that 22 a day. And so I've always advocated, any veteran that is in a mental health crisis, if you need to store your pew-pews with a friend or family member while you go through that crisis, please do so. But this may give some help to veterans going through that, so they don't necessarily lose access to their pew-pews, which mean it's very important to them, as we all know. But would that be a benefit? Because like I said, with that accountability piece, we're starting to get data and numbers as to with these self-deletion incidents.
Okay. And we can talk about both of those as we go around, but do me a favor and put both of those bills down in the chat so everybody can see what those are and look those up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please and thank you.
Anybody that's curious, if you go to my link tree in my bio, I actually have them all listed there. There's a couple of sections I have. One is for veterans resources, which has links to access to VSOs and things like that, but all of the bills are there, but I will also put them in the chat for everybody as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Silver. Okay, Lily, are you there?
I'm here. Hello.
Okay, how are you this evening?
I'm wonderful, thank you. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. So let's start with your pronouns. Which group that you may be in, either person with disabilities or veteran, and what are your feelings for what's going to happen or what you think might happen over the next 4 years?
Okay, she, her. I'm a little bit of both. I am a 30-year former Marine's wife.
Okay.
And I also have a disability. I have ankylosing spondylitis, and it took 25 years to diagnose. So 25 years of not being believed turned it into a disability. It could have been stopped or not stopped, but slowed down. But it wasn't. So
Okay.
that's where we're at now.
Do you have any specific concerns about what you think is going to happen during this upcoming administration?
Yeah, my biggest worry is that healthcare is going to be the least of our worries.
Mm. Yeah.
To me, that's heartbreaking. That the healthcare is even a worry to begin with.
Right.
That's going to be one of the least that we're worried about.
Right. Okay, well, thank you for that. Go back on mute for a second. Who we got next? Mallory.
Hi everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, my pronouns are she and her. I am
Also, and my homie, what up, Mallory?
Hey,
Go ahead.
Santana. Thanks for bringing me up. Thank you for hosting this platform and holding such a great space every night. And thank you to all of our veterans. I'm a part of both communities. Jason, my partner, is a veteran. I work as a clinician within the VA. I have some chronic medical conditions that are, I don't know, close to being a disability, but I would lose my career and I don't want to do that. So I do my best to take care of it. Honestly, I look forward to seeing, I guess specifically like what Congress is going to do to help hold down the fort in terms of, advocating and pushing things forward in our government to support veterans and people that live with disability. And, for those that are willing and able within the communities to really do the same, to stand 10 toes down and to advocate and to educate, sometimes entertain, as I hear Santana say. But yeah, because having seen what my partner has gone through and my family members and friends who are veterans go through, and those that are living with disability, they're not always able and willing. So I think, you know, as someone who may be able-bodied and willing to do the work, I hope to see the same from the communities out there.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thanks.
Literate Unicorn,
Hi
welcome
again.
back. Yes.
Thank you. I felt kind of bad requesting again. It felt like maybe I was overstaying my welcome.
Oh, no, no, no. We want to hear all voices, and you gave some good information last night, and I'm sure you can do it again this evening.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. So, just for the sake of everybody else on the panel, can you go through our intro, please?
Absolutely. I'm they, she. Sorry, I'm letting my cat in. I'm they, she. I am disabled, blind, and neurodivergent. I always forget to mention that second one. I'm also a disability studies scholar, and so to add something for the next 4 years that I hadn't added before, I think the continued normalization of cruelty, cruelty toward all groups, and then cruelty toward the disabled community is going to be increased. And that spaces like what we're having now, these discussions, especially as regards intersectionality, which is what I really want to focus on for me tonight, is going to be the way of halting stagnation in our process forward and hopefully not allowing a reversal to occur, which I think is quite possible, if not in straight up policy, then certainly in public perception and way of thinking.
Okay. I don't know how deep we might want to get into intersectionality tonight. I mean, as it pertains to the two groups that we're talking about this evening, for sure. But we're going to do a deep dive. Santana's going to do a really good deep dive next week, starting next week with intersectionality. So definitely come back for that.
That's all good. I'll have something regardless, but thank you for telling me that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, real quick. Dark Nurse. That's an ominous name. Dark Nurse.
Hi, my name is Mariana. I am a nurse, and I'm the wife of a veteran. I'm also disabled myself from a work injury related to an assault. And I'm she, her, and what I'm concerned about for the next coming up 4 years is I want to see a strong defense from independents in the Democratic Party. I think that that's one of the ways that we can fight back and hold off as much of the negative stuff that affects us. And one of those most concerning to me, as my husband is newly diagnosed with PTSD and bipolar disorder, is there is talk about defunding the mental health care part of the VA, and I'm scared about that.
Okay, definitely understandable. But you bring up a good point that we should discuss a little bit if we can. I haven't heard anybody saying in these 3 days that we've been doing this, talking about things we can do to actually try to fight back against this stuff. We know what we're worried about is going to happen over the next 4 years, but what can we do, and what can we press the Democratic Party to do to try and fight back against these things? So that's a good point that I would love us to discuss this evening.
That is an excellent point.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, last one, Terry Armstrong. Oh, Terry Jeff Jones.
Let's wrap back around real quick. Sharon, are you there? Sharon, I'm going to send you a request to come off mute. I heard.
Yeah, she didn't answer either. Exactly.
Okay. All right, Sharon. I'm assuming that you're sleeping, and we're going to say goodnight, lullaby, and I'm going to drop you down. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and get two other people in. Hawk, I'll let you finish up, but let me just read this off real quick. Guys, W's in the chat for Corey. Massive W's in the chat for Corey. Corey sent a $5 donation, and Corey said that I'm not in the chat tonight because I had to go to the hospital with one of my clients. I'm listening on my headphones, though. I just wanted to thank you for existing. That's a lot. I'm struggling this week, and it's a little glimmer of hope to get through this bullshit was needed. Listen, Corey, you know how awesome and amazing you are. You know how special you are to us in our community. Hope everything's okay. If you need us, we're here. But thank you for at least listening, and thank you for being you. W's in the chat for Corey. Also, guys, I want to call out that apparently it's been brought to my attention that you guys can't see the donation the donation goal. And so I will be working to make adjustments on that, just to kind of level set with everybody, so you can. So for those who can't see it, it's $13. We've gotten $13 of our $250 nightly donation goal. So that means that we still have $237 left. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. So if you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And please don't forget about Hawk. Hawk has it expired. Guys, can we run Hawk's pay links in the poll again? Let's make sure that we're taking care of Hawk. He has his pay links in his bio, but we're also going to get it running in the poll. And Hawk has been up here all week, helping us lead these conversations. And with that being said, I'm actually going to pass it back to Hawk to introduce the other two new people that were just added to the panel.
All right, sounds good. Scripted Sense, how are you this evening?
Doing fine. So name is Theo. Pronouns are she, they. I'm a disabled vet and a caregiver of a disabled child.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on what you think might occur during this upcoming administration?
To be honest, I'm still kind of trying to get out of doom and gloom thinking, because was at the point when I saw polls and everything. I wasn't really concerned for me. I was more concerned for my son.
Right.
Because of the IEP, because I didn't want my child, nor any child that my child goes to school with, or basically any child that benefited from the IEP program, to lose that. Because that has been a game changer for me and how I look at ADHD and disability as a whole. Because it wasn't really, like, I know mine, I really never put more thought into it. It's just I have to get stuff done. But when it came to my son, it's like, no, I can't do that. I have to be able to work with them and work with his teachers.
Huh?
Right.
Oh yeah, he's up.
Who are you talking with?
Just a couple of friends, baby.
Hi.
All right.
He ran away.
Thank you for that, Scripted. All right, last one, Void. Void, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You know our 3 intro questions?
Yeah, my name is Maddie, she, her, and honestly, what I'm hoping for, because I mean, there's a lot of fears. What I'm hoping for is maybe some class consciousness and like people kind of coming together and seeing what's going on with our system.
Did you say class consciousness?
Yeah.
In what country?
That's what I'm hoping for. It's not what yeah. I forgot to mention I'm disabled, so that's the community I fall into. So
Okay, thank you for that. But that's actually a good point, though. I think I would loop that back to the question I asked earlier, though. What can we do to enable that or to help that grow during these next 4 years, this class consciousness in a positive way? Mm-hmm. We know what they're doing, right, to cause these class struggles that we're having and people not understanding stuff because they're listening to misinformation and propaganda. Mm-hmm. What can we do to try to turn that around would be the question I would ask.
Would anybody I was about to say, would anybody like to take that?
Yeah, let's start with Unicorn. I think Unicorn might have a good perspective on that. Unicorn, you still there?
I just put a mouthful of macaroni and cheese in my mouth.
Got you.
I do that all the time. Don't worry about it.
I'm good.
Well, listen, I'll start. You finish chewing.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay. You got it.
You go ahead, though.
No. I was just trying to fill in time for you, so you go ahead.
I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Funny you mentioned class consciousness, because I'm also because as a grad student that wants to continue their grad studies, you have to be doing 8,000 things at once. Because your CV, especially if you're coming from like a state school, your CV has to be competitive beyond belief. So I'm on the executive board for the Academic Student Employee Union for the California State University, so UAW. And I am currently in the process of working with some of my fellows. We're building a disability justice working group and getting speakers for a launch event, which has been a process I'm not familiar with, but I'm doing. So I think recognizing the presence of a lot of the challenges that we face, whether it be disability, whether it be oppression due to race, gender, economics, and recognizing that in relationship to the capitalistic system that we live in, that it only sees value in productivity, and productivity especially for capital gain, not just for, let's say, beauty or art's sake. And making those spaces connect, and giving our people information, but also ways to increase their access and their rights and justice. Like we're moving into contract bargaining this summer, and we're looking at contract enforcement and new bargaining proposals to bring forth to ensure that not only the current generation, because I'll be graduating, but the current generation of our employees, but the future generations will have the knowledge, information to move forward, and then the teeth, the legal teeth, and the union teeth behind it to back them up. So I think making those struggles connected, because they are extremely connected. Struggles feels like a weird word, but I guess it's right. It is a way to move forward, and it is going to be a grassroots sort of thing. Change doesn't come from the top down, it does come from the bottom up. So that's what I would have to say.
Okay, thank you. Silver, you want to have anything that you can add on to that, or?
Absolutely. Because one of the things that I've always kind of just thought to myself is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are already human rights groups in every state. There are already these communities that we can join, whether they be, say, joining together here on TikTok, which may be going away, but joining together on Discord and coming together with our individual knowledge base, whether that's, veterans knowledge or, whatever human rights kind of activism there is out there, getting us more into the activism phase of this. And every state already has this. I would say that uplifting the voices of Black women is going to be what's going to get the United States through this the most. That's kind of my take on how it is. And so I've gone out into my community here in Missouri to look for those types of groups that I can support in some type of way. Because with, say, for example, I now have access to free schooling with being a veteran and all of that. And now that I have my disability solidly in place, and hopefully that does not go away, I've considered going back to school to try to go into public service in some way. But just lifting up the community, joining together in communities and doing that activism work and education. Education is going to be the foundation of what gets us there, because even when you look at what's happening with, to kind of jump subjects with the border, Mexico actually has an initiative called PAIL that is meant to legally help immigrants within the United States through the legal process here. So that they can have advocates. It's kind of a play off of the bipartisan bill that was never signed because of Trump, and giving them access to legal counsel and things like that. So there are these groups out there already that we just need to go and support. And it's really just finding them and connecting with them.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent.
I just want to jump in for a second and say W's in the chat for Jeremy. Jeremy sent a $25 Cash App to go towards the nightly donation goal. So that means that we are now up to $38, meaning we only have $212 left in the nightly donation goal. So, guys, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Anything is accepted. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. Hawk, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. To Silver's point, though, there are also groups out there that have popped up over the last 4 years or so in support of the Democratic Party and that side of things or whatever, like Defense of Democracy or Vets for Democracy. Those were organizations that popped up specifically to go against groups like Moms for Liberty and all of this crap or whatever. And those are groups that you can join and you can bring up these topics within those groups. And these are things that they can pursue as well. Because again, it's an existing organization. They've got good infrastructure. They're pretty much in every state in the union now or whatever. So accessing groups like that and having them help us make this argument or whatever out amongst the people, whatever, would also be a good thing. You don't have to start from scratch. There's things that are already out there. That's an excellent point. Lily, would you like to add anything?
Right now, what I'm doing is just I'm going down rabbit holes, trying to figure out who's behind who and what we're looking at. A lot of the things I'm finding, are like the Christian nationalist groups behind them, the neo-reactionary groups behind them. So I'm not caught off guard as to what their plans are. Does that make sense?
It does.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm just going down a lot of rabbit holes, and that's probably why I'm a little freaked out. But yeah, and I've started building a community here on TikTok. We're planning on staying in touch even if it does get shut down. And I'm also working with community here in my hometown. Mine is it's how do I say it? It's an ethnic group. So, but there are religious groups, there are, disability groups, stuff like that. But that's all I know to do right now. I've never been in this situation before. I don't think any of us have. So I'm
Right,
still a little bit
exactly.
on the shocked side.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable.
Absolutely. I see Silver had their hand up. Silver, did you want to add something?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was trying to type it in the chat. Lily, in my link tree under hate crimes, you're actually going to find a lot of resources that you might be interested in when it comes to both domestic and international movement of these WCN groups. Because we do see a lot of push, not just here, but overseas as well, in Germany, in Australia, in New Zealand, in a lot of other places as well, even Canada. So there's like a lot of stuff in my link tree for that specifically.
Thank you so much. I really think that's going to be important to build connections with people all over, because I don't think this is going to just stay here. So thank you.
Absolutely. Hawk, I'm sorry, the floor is yours.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Let's see. I think we've been around. Mallory, I haven't heard from you in a minute. Do you have anything to say on this subject, or do you have another point you'd like to bring up?
Did you say Mallory?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, there's so much to veterans care and healthcare overall. I think one thing I wanted to mention, sorry, but the history of the Veterans Administration is pretty wild, and they I've heard it called the Toyota of healthcare, and I think also too is like the overall expansion of the VA has been really promising, and I just hope it keeps continuing. I've seen it grown when I first got onto the VA over a decade ago, like seeing one hospital per state and then seeing more than one, and specialty centers and community-based outpatient programs. And so much of it, all of it comes directly from our funding from Congress, and so it's just really important that we continue to move in ways that comes from like this informed, the informed, educated voter, you know, and so finding these spaces was really valuable to me and sharing it out with the people I know. And I can see and hear the passion in everyone's voices, and I just encourage everyone to continue that. And I'm gonna have a hard time talking. It's really cold outside. I'm walking the dogs before bed.
I hear
It's
that
really
wind.
cold inside too, so
Yeah,
As
I'm
we
in
as we
DC, so
say
it's
in my
like
home,
20
that
degrees right now.
yeah, as we say where I'm from, the hawk is really out there getting you tonight.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll drop down, but thank you so much. Keep doing the deal. Appreciate you all so much.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
I'm going to go ahead and drop down too. I just wanted to come up and say thank you so much for doing this. I
No.
thank you guys for, giving out a lot of fantastic information that so many of us need,
Yeah, no,
unprecedented times. So I really appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. I think that, more than anything, it's you said it's an unprecedented time, but it's a time for community, and I've said this over and over and over, and so being able to be connected and being able to actually be there for each other and actually having not only these conversations but multiple conversations is super important. So thank you for actually just engaging with this and engaging with us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Hawk, I think.
All right, script. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think Unicorn has their hand up.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Go ahead, Unicorn.
Not an emergency if you got something you need to do.
No. I was just going to go around the panel. There's a couple we haven't heard from in a little while, but if you got something, please share.
Yeah, okay, then. I was thinking about what we've been doing over the past couple of days, the focus on verbiage and the way that we talk about ourselves, our community, our children. And it made me think of the idea of internal deconstruction and self-deconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
I was guilty of it last night, accidentally using an ableist cliche, even the word special in an unfortunate context because I wasn't thinking. The way that this is ingrained into our society is pervasive. It's pervasive to the point at which when I was in elementary school, I was already debating whether I should have children or not because I would pass down my disability. Ew. A 9-year-old shouldn't be discussing eugenics, but that's where it was because those thoughts already hit. And as I heard someone bring up the other day while talking about looking for a hysterectomy, they had to levy their genetic inheritance possibilities to get that, and I may have to do the same. And that's sick because the fact that we're both shamed for having a possibly inheritable genetic quote-unquote defect and then have to levy that to get necessary, in a lot of cases, care really speaks to the weird, I'm against the word dichotomy. It makes me uncomfortable just because, I don't know, it's overused, but the dichotomy that we face. And I think it also comes to the point of having these discussions in a really frank way and being willing to hear each other, which was something I was very impressed with the other day when it was brought up, using people with disabilities rather than disabled people.
Yep.
Or even getting into the discussion about impairment versus disability, which is a huge thing in the disability studies community, that impairment is the physical or mental condition itself. Disability is what society impacts because society disables you because of the impairment, because of society's inability / unwillingness, mostly the second part, to make space for, not even accommodate, but make space for the disabled body or disabled or impaired mind, whatever. So I think having these like with any marginalized group, and then of course it gets more complicated as marginalized groups compound in a single person or community.
Yep.
having these deconstructive conversations and to some extent decolonizing, I hope that's an okay word to use, decolonizing our minds from this concept of ourselves as inherently inferior, even if we don't believe that in an explicit, I would say it out in public way, is going to be an essential part of giving us the strength and confidence to move forward and be loud and be present so that change can be made. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Unicorn. We appreciate you so much.
And I am going to call it a night, guys, too. So I'll throw that out while I'm here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one.
It's been a long day, full with a financial aid cluster I got to deal with.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, you know that you are more than welcome back anytime. You're an awesome member of our community, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Goodbye.
Good night, Unicorn.
Good night.
All right. What do we have? Scripted. We haven't heard from you in a little while. You got something you'd like to add to what we've been discussing?
Oh, there it is. I got confused for a second.
You're good.
Okay. It's like I know still to this day it's like, yeah, talk to your congressman, talk to your state, talk to your mayors. If you can go see them physically, go see them. Because going with a computer and stuff, it just looks like words, and then you just get a generic message. Sometimes they need to see you and be like, see you as their constituent. You know, for the conversations to kind of happen. Because as someone that mobily can't really physically go see my congressperson, if there are people that are able to do it, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get that. And you can call them and leave messages. If they don't actually answer, you can email them. You can do those things on a regular basis. Right?
I have. There's a couple of times where I get the voicemail is full. Please hang up and try again. If you need help, please contact the service operator.
And when they pull that crap, send them an email and then call them again.
That's basically what I've been doing.
Yep, keep calling, keep emailing.
The human resources part of me has not shut down yet.
Absolutely,
I was hoping it would when I got out the military, but it didn't.
Oh yeah, some of that military stuff never goes away. Silver, I see you have your hand up.
Oh, I was just kind of, praising.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. Okay.
Kind of
So
praising.
Hawk, what the kids like to call those nowadays? Those are emotes, right there.
You know what? It ain't that long a flight to get to where you are. Understand that.
Well, you got to come see me at some point anyway. So.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so where are we? I know we're getting close. Dark Nurse.
Scripted.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to jump in a little bit. I have like two things that I was thinking about what, your agreement with me about holding our Democratic Party accountable. And a couple of things that I have done in the past, I backed off from it recently, the last couple of years, is you can pretty much infiltrate your county or city or whatever the area Democratic Party and join the party. They don't take dues. There are donations or whatever. They can't take dues. And well, they do take dues, like $15 a year at my place. Anyway, you can kind of just get in there and start talking to people and listening and having good conversations, encouraging, the things that you want that may be a little bit more progressive than they're used to. Because I've found in county parties across the country, it's usually elders, boomers, that are holding down this party, right? And they have all this knowledge of how the system works and how you can make it happen, and other groups that might be working with, and you can get a good start on where to start, right? And I was there for like less than a year, and I was part of the state committee that made, decisions about what was happening in the party. So it's doable. It does take, you do have to have a certain level of funds, because they don't pay you to, drive your car across the state to go to the state meeting, or whatever. So you do have to have a little bit of money to be able to do it, but it is possible. And then the other thing I was thinking about when they were talking about class consciousness, I live in a county that in 2016 voted for Trump, which was the first time that our county had voted for a Republican since 1942. We were the last holdout county in the country that had never voted for a Republican president. And so my county, I've watched my county just go from Union True Blue, to Trump signs on every corner. And it's been kind of heartbreaking. And what I've noticed is, sorry, I get long-winded. I ran for office, can you tell? Is that people feel and know about, if maybe not even consciously, they know about the increase in wealth and income inequality, right? They know they're not doing as well as their parents did, and they suspect, even if unconsciously, that they will die in debt rather than leave something to their children, right? That is the reality. And so they're looking for the strong man, Daddy Trump, to step in and fix it. Because they don't have time to fix it themselves, because they have to work 3 jobs to even pay the house payment or the car payment or the rent. And so even though I totally agree and want to use the language that I have learned from you guys on TikTok, in these spaces in my community, I have to use the same language as the guys. You know what I mean? I have to use my working class vernacular and not correct every single word they say that I don't like or whatever. And so just that they have been radicalized. And the only way to combat that I've found so far is to build community, build relationships, even with people you don't think you agree with, because we really do agree with them more than we know.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I get 2 things out of 2 major things that popped up, Antenna, I guess, as you said, what you were saying. One is we need to try and get younger people more involved to do the things that you're discussing, right? Because again, boomers are on their way out, and they need to be kind of pushed to the side. They can mentor and help or whatever, but we need to start getting younger people involved in doing this stuff or whatever. As pertains to the language part that you were talking about, I would take those as teaching moments or whatever. How you approach making those corrections or whatever, you're going to have to judge, for yourself the best way to go about doing that. But I would use that as teaching moments, because part of the problem that they have in using that type of language is they're in an echo chamber. They're not hearing anything else. So being corrected isn't necessarily a bad thing. How we go about doing that, maybe, I understand where you're coming from, but I think those teachable moments are a good time to give them more information, and maybe that'll help your overall message as they're hearing you make these corrections about other things. Absolutely. Hopefully that makes sense.
I can see that, but I don't want to push somebody away by doing that too much. You know what I'm saying? Once you build a relationship with a person, you get to know each other, they trust you in some way, that could come. I think then the education can come. But if I push them, like first time I'm meeting with them, and say, oh, don't say that. Oh, don't say that either. Don't say this either. You're insensitive. You know what I mean? Then that's going to harden their heart to any kind of connection we could make.
And again, big picture, I definitely understand that. But I guess, and this is the teacher in me, I was in the classroom for too long. My thing is I think there's a way of going about doing that. Your concern is valid. Do not get me wrong. I definitely understand your concern, but we also don't want to acquiesce, because what'll happen then is especially for those of us that are a little older, like myself, who are already struggling to keep up with the appropriate language and doing things correct and everything else, it'll make us backslide. So I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to acquiesce into doing that, but I can educate as I do it. Again, my big issue in that is understanding what you're saying. It's how you say it. It's how you go about delivering that message, right? This isn't me slamming you. This is me educating all of us so that we can all be better. If we take that type of approach to it or whatever, I don't think, except for the hardcore ones. The hardcore ones, no matter what you say or how you say it, they're going to take offense. There's nothing we can do about that, but we can still deliver the proper message, I think.
Yeah, no, and
it's
I want to
prioritizing,
I
right?
want to hold on one second. I want to add in on to that and just kind of put a bow on it because I completely agree. But as someone who speaks to, you know, Trump supporters on a daily basis and even debate them and has, like actual like not so pleasant conversations, the one thing that I have learned is to Hawk's point is delivering that message and not only just being like, oh, you know, you're so wrong for doing this, but like, hey, you shouldn't say that because of this, right? And just speaking plainly to them about why you're saying that, and instead of actually putting, I think that's something that the left missed out on, where they tend to talk above a lot of people who support Trump talk above their head in a lot of different ways, and they feel like they're getting put down instead of like actually having that conversation with them. And so, I mean, I completely understand what you're saying, and I get it. You don't want to be off-putting, especially when you're trying to win someone's trust. But also, you know, setting that line in the sand and like, hey, this is who I am. I'm upfront about this, just so you know, and I'm not okay with it, and this is why. And I promise you, people will be more receptive to that than you think.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm not very. I guess I'm not articulating it perfectly. PTSD is a bit takes away some of your brain power. But anyway, I mean prioritize. There absolutely will be a zero tolerance, you know, on a lot of things. But there's things where I can, you know, set that to the side for now and read for, you know, go back to later.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. But Dark Nurse, thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
appreciate you so much for jumping on the panel.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Void, haven't heard from you in a little while.
Hi, yeah. So I guess I see you guys are about done. So I'll just try to keep this as brief. I guess I brought up earlier hope because that's really all I got right now, to be honest. And like when I was on this tonight, I just kind of couldn't help but think of my circumstances, to be honest, which might be selfish, whatever. I'm bipolar, and because I'm bipolar, I'm on medications where I cannot use, I don't know if they censor this, but birth control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming for reproductive rights. So for me, I physically, there's no single one I can do to prevent pregnancy. So that's the thing that scares me about the current climate. And then, you know, I was on a medication this year that causes birth defects. So that's another scary thing is I couldn't even do a DNC with some of the laws they're making.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started the disability process a month before the election happened. So it was like, is this, you know, pointless? And when I see current stuff, it's like, you know, with this, and, you know, people kind of discrediting mental health when it's like, on top of it, I've tried like 15 different jobs, you know, and I just can't hack it because of my mental health. I have these episodes and I lose it. So I guess when I brought up hope, like, you know, we kind of saw it with like Luigi, just this like conscious moment. And I'm just hoping, because that's really all I have in this scenario is like we have that fully. But I see Santana, I see your debates, and sometimes that hope kind of leaves for a second.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, sometimes, you know, you got to put your foot on the back of their neck. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that was it. Yeah, I'm going to drop down because you guys are done for the night.
Thank you so much for coming up, and thank you for joining the panel. We appreciate you.
Well, to her point, I'm going to say this, and then we can let Silver speak. But I'm the eternal optimist. I get chided for that quite a bit sometimes, but I have that mindset is that, you know, you have to hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So I am the eternal optimist, but I'm also pragmatic, and I'm ready for whatever happens or whatever. And I just think that there are things that we can do to prod the party overall into at least fighting back and moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how long that will take, but we have to make them do their jobs. That's what we're paying them for.
Yeah. No, you know, I think you and I share a lot of that in common because I'm actually the same way as well. And no matter what happens, I tend to always have that positive outlook and think, you know what, things are going to be okay. So anyway.
Well, one of the things I used to teach in and out of the military is have a plan, have a backup plan, and have a backup to the backup.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be ready regardless.
You're right. And when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
There you go. Silver.
Hey.
Silver, are you still doing lives? I haven't seen you live in a long time.
I haven't. I had to take a break. I had some stress issues, and then I got caught in a YT Christian nationalist space, and they threatened harm to my family. So I took a step back for a while, but I am here full blown and ready to stand against them.
Well, I know you always deliver good information. I used to enjoy your live, so I'm ready
you.
when you're back. I really am.
And I actually wanted to speak about that because when in touching on education and touching on what these groups are doing, these YT Christian nationalist groups do, I spend a very large majority of my time in their spaces. Everything that I have shared tonight, whether it's these bills or, the different things that Mexico is doing and internationally being done, I actually learn in YT Christian nationalist spaces. It's what they're arguing against. And they actually have sites that you can go on and get that information. And then they teach each other how to do these debates, how to come into spaces like this and look like the victim. And behave in a way that it looks like you're mocking them. And then that projects out that the idea that they want to present that white men are under attack, that Christianity is under attack. And so it's very, very, I mean, they teach how to do, how to build your own domestic tea organization, how to make it and actualize those things. They teach those things very heavily. And it's very important for us to understand that community is important and for us to get together and educate and make our voice one voice. And to lift up, again, just to lift up those marginalized communities. Because when we look at who's at the top and who we're fighting and the billions and billions that they have, it is going to be grassroots, that we do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for not only being here tonight and over these last couple of nights, but I've been super impressed with you as far as just I've watched you in the chat. I've heard you on the panel and just all the resource and information that you have. And so I appreciate that so much. And you've been such an attribute to this conversation this entire week. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate what you guys do so much. And whatever I can do to help uplift voices. Again, I believe that white people as a whole need to step back and allow marginalized groups, allow the Black community to speak and platform them and raise them up to allow their voices to be heard, because I think that's where that change comes from.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Silva. I appreciate you, and you have a wonderful evening. All right, Hawk.
All right.
The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Ooh. I guess I can do a wrap up. Actually, I think tonight was pretty good. I think there was enough of diverse information shared on the panel. People got good information, places that they can go, websites that they can go, programs that they can access to start understanding these things better. I really like the idea of us, again, being proactive and pushing the party as a whole or your local politicians or whatever to actually do the things that are going to at least attempt to push us in the right direction. All of those things being discussed, I think, was a positive thing about tonight's conversation. Yeah. And we had a pretty good group of people in here with knowledge from a couple of different sides. Some of the information we got from Manny and Lady Artemis was excellent in terms of veteran stuff or whatever. He mentioned a program in the chat. They didn't say it on the thing. Let me see if I still have that. But it was another veterans thing that he mentioned that I thought was really good. But yeah, all of those things like that, again, that was the good thing to me for tonight, was getting information out in terms of resources that people could go to to help them work through some of this stuff or whatever. Genesis was one of the things they talk about. I don't think that was it. It was something else they mentioned. I'll
the
figure
Scott
out what it
Cohen
was.
Center.
Yeah, that was one too. Absolutely. But yeah, just getting the different resources out, and we had a lot of them tonight. And like Silver said, almost everything she discussed is in her link tree. So please visit her page and go to her link tree and look at those resources and do that stuff as well. But having access to good and better resources, I think, is what a lot of people need, because people are sitting there just kind of worried and discombobulated, like, well, what do I do? Well, these resources will help give them a path on what they can do. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, what's interesting? So, again, I was having a conversation with my mom today, and she was just like, oh, I love, your show last night. It was just so good, and the people were so good, and da-da-da-da-da. Then I was just thinking about how you and I talked about it, and I was like, I wonder what she didn't make this one tonight, but I was like, I wonder what she would have thought about this. But for her to praise it and to praise what we've done this week as well, I know that actually that speaks volumes to me, but it also speaks volumes to, like, we're doing what we're trying to do, Hawk. Like, not just like you know the behind the scenes and the inner working and everything. So I feel like we're doing what we want to do, and we're moving in the right direction. So it made me happy. It's been a good week.
And look, to that point, everybody can do something. Maybe you can't do this what Santana is doing. Maybe you can't do this and how I assist him doing it. But you can do something. Everybody can do something. Figure out what that is for you in your local community, in your neighborhood, in your state, and just do something. There's all kinds of stuff that we can do. And that kind of groundswell, I think, is what we're going to need, especially after we get over the shock after January 20th.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, Hawk, any other parting words?
No, I think that's it for me. I appreciate you inviting me to help you run this week and co-host it. And it was interesting and it was fun, in terms of running the panel and having good discussions with people, whatever. I mean, you know me, I've been in lives for well over a year now or whatever, and doing my thing and having debates and all of this stuff or whatever. But actually, trying to run, I dipped my toe in a little bit when I first started or whatever with co-hosting with a couple of mutuals that I had or whatever. But this was the first time that I went full blown and actually, did the thing. And I appreciate you inviting me to do that. And I had a good time this week.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you this. It's funny, and it's just me and you talking right now. Nobody else is listening, so I'll just say this. My wife and I, we talk often, and she's like, why doesn't Hawk do his own lives? He would be so good. He's so smart, and I would just love to see him do his own lives. So, you got at least one supporter. Two. Well,
I'm not sure I have the patience. Yeah, I'm not sure I have the patience. And you say it's just you and me talking. There's always at least two other people listening. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, you're right about that.
No. I'm covering myself.
No, but seriously, hey, thank you for being here this week. Thank you for stepping up. I mean, when I asked you if you would do it, you said yes without hesitation, and that means so much to me. And you know how much I'm going to lean on you with other things and moving forward. So I appreciate you doing this with me this week.
Well, I had a ball. So anytime I can help, let me know, and I will do the best I can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, before we wrap up, just a quick reminder, if you're not following me on YouTube, give me a follow on YouTube. We're streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok right now. Follow me on YouTube, follow me on Blue Sky, follow me on Twitch. This was the last night of the panel discussion. We will be back next week with another weekly installment of Late Nights with Santana. The rest of this week will be other things, including sparring with Santana. And if you guys have not seen the video that I posted, the announcement that I made this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, we are back with Brunch with My Creator. And my special guest for this Sunday will be Parker. So Parker and I are going to have a sit down conversation, get more information, inside look as far as, you know, how he got into not only TikTok but debating and the opportunities he's parlayed that into, and followed up with a Q&A session. So if you're interested, make sure that you give us follow us and watch on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And if you want to join the actual conversation, you have an opportunity to come up and ask questions. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for an amazing week. Thank you for being here. I love you all. You all are amazing. Thank you for the likes, shares, for the gifts. Thank you for everything. And as always, Hawk, peace.
Peace.